So, month 10 of the Road to 100k series with the fivers, and I want to do this video a little bit differently because it's January 2026 right now, and this time of year, I always want to reflect. I want to look back and I want to review everything I've done in the past year so I can see how I can improve in the year moving forward. So in this video, I'm going to be going over some of the key winning trades we've taken during this challenge. I also want to touch on some of the notable trades and some missed trades, and also just some other key little interesting bits of information that I found during the year of trading. And then after we've done some chart work, which we're going to do in just a moment, I want to talk about right here, I want to talk about the successes, the failures, the psychology of trading this year, and lastly, I want to look at the things that I've learned doing this challenge since March of 2025. As always, if you're interested in doing a Fivers challenge yourself, they're the most reputable prop firm in the industry, and I'll leave a link to them down below. So without further ado, we'll get into the charts, and we're going to look at some of the most interesting trades and learnings of this year. So probably the most significant winning trade we've had during this challenge is this 13% winner on NJ, consisting of two trades. It's a continuation short from this ascending channel with the confluence of an unfilled gap. And then I was slightly aggressive on the scaling. The break was really small, but it was worth taking in the end. And this trade brought us right up to the profit target. It actually took us over the profit target, but unfortunately, I needed a few more winning trades to qualify for the minimum trading days, and I'm still trying to qualify for those minimum trading days 6-7 months later. I also wanted to touch on a couple of notable trades, so trades that nearly won or trades where I made a mistake and it could have turned the challenge around. So the first one I wanted to look at was this EJ flag, which had a V in a range in prior price action, and you can see that I use a very small stop loss, and had I used a larger stop loss or perhaps entered as a combo, this would have been a really nice trade. You can see it trended for a while. I probably would have exited around here, but you can see that it would have continued trending for a while longer. I've got a couple of these, so that's just the first one. Another trade on EJ, this time a reversal. We had a super clean ascending channel, and I think everybody trading this strategy was waiting for this channel to break, waiting for the bubble to burst. And again, I was a little bit early. We kept trickling higher. You can see the size of this channel here if I really zoom out. And yeah, unfortunately I was tagged out. We continued ascending and we did end up getting this huge break to the downside. We got a massive move, and you can imagine how huge that could have been had the timing been a little better. This trade I actually mismanaged, and I ended up taking a much smaller win than I was supposed to. I ended up closing the trade before spread hours. I can't quite remember. You'll have to watch the September Fivers recap to see exactly what went wrong with this trade. I can't remember the details, but it was supposed to be a trade that would have ran to right here. So a 4%, roughly a 4% winner, but I ended up taking a 0.79% win instead. So mistakes were made, and this is one of the only mistakes I've actually made in my trading all year. I've had a few missed trades, but this is the only trade where I actually made a mistake in my trading plan. And here's the last trade I thought was kind of worth mentioning. This was one of the most recent trades I've taken. I think it might be the most recent trade I've taken. And this was a continuation on AJ, where I was tagged out prematurely, and you can see that it ended up being the beginning of a huge trend. I don't want to use a larger stop loss. I've seen on the larger sample size that it doesn't work out with my strategy, but it is worth noting these opportunities where there's huge trends after my entry. And it's really nice to see when I get the direction right like this, despite being tagged out of the trade. So we've looked at winning trades, some interesting, noteworthy trades, and now I wanted to show you a couple of missed trades from the last 10 months. So the first trade I missed during this challenge was this AU flag, which formed on July 22nd. And you can see that this trade would have been roughly around a 5-6% winner. So yeah, just an interesting trade. I'm gonna cover a couple more because there's some pretty huge ones that fit my plan that I did not execute. Here's a smaller one. This is on AJ. It's another flag which formed on the 20th of August. And this was, I think it was just like a 1% winner. So it wasn't a big deal to miss out on this one. Now, unfortunately, this is one of two huge trades I missed, which could have potentially passed the entire challenge, both phase 1 and phase 2, because the two trades I'm about to show you happened subsequently. They happened one day after each other. So I believe on NJ, I'm using a 15 pip stop loss these days, and you can see that this trade ran all the way to 8%. And this was on the 9th of October. It's a continuation coming from an ascending channel. And just the following trading day, October 10th, we had this amazing combo. This is really one I should have been in because combos work out really, really well on AJ. It's one of the most high probability patterns for this symbol. And you can see this trade ran to 13%. So there's 20% of missed profit on these two trades alone. Also, we didn't get the NJ reversal at the end of the year this year. If you look back, December 2023, December 2024, we got reversal entries that had the setup format that we followed to get involved in these reversals that each made 10% profit. And unfortunately, we didn't get that opportunity this year. But it's interesting to note that we kind of had the same price action. Even though we didn't get an opportunity to get involved in the price action, we did get this ascending channel and a push down, actually quite a significant push down, all the way down to this low right here. So you can see that we did get an ascending and a reversal. We just didn't get the reversal entry that we're looking for. And the last thing worth noting is I didn't take a single trade on EU in the entirety of 2025, which is really interesting because I think in 2024, I didn't take any trades or I only took one trade. Really interesting. No trades on EU whatsoever. So now we're going to touch on the successes of the year, the failures of the year, the psychology of trading this year, and most importantly, what I've learned from trading this challenge from March of 2025. I think you guys will certainly agree with me on this point, but I found that this year I've been more patient than ever. I think in 2024, we started getting these slower market conditions and there was really a bit of a transition period into accepting that and taking a step back and being a bit more conservative. I think in 2024, I was in a little bit of a rush to make profit, make percentage. But obviously that does no good and I ended up forcing trades and losing. And going into 2025, I really had this mentality of taking the most high quality setups that I possibly could. In fact, one of the goals that I had at the start of 2025 was to only take trades that I graded 9 out of 10 or above. And my criteria basically works like this. If there is anything wrong with the trade, I'll take 1 point off. So for example, imagine the most perfect flag with a huge descending channel in prior price action. That's a 10 out of 10 setup. It fits completely perfect. Now, let's say there's a little bit of a wick on that flag, then maybe I'll take a point off. And if prior price action isn't up to par, I might take another point off. So very strict criteria. And this is what led to me taking only 24 trades in the whole year. And yeah, I think I did pretty well because my average trade grade I've got here was 9.21. So most of my trades were 9s or 10s, which I'm really pleased about. And yeah, being patient, I'm sure you'll agree, has served me fairly well. I think I would be in a lot worse of a position than I already am trading this particular strategy if I wasn't as patient as I have been. So I'm really pleased that I did kind of switch to this more conservative approach in my trading, because I think a lot of people that have been trading the same strategy as me this year will undoubtedly be at a loss or maybe a small profit, whereas I'm currently sitting at break even for the year. But obviously the Fivers challenge is sitting at like plus 3 or 4% or something, which is great. Another success I've had this year, I've mentioned 3 there, being patient, the average trade grade being quite high, and ending the year at break even. Those are the 3 successes I've listed so far. But another success which I've been doing in the background, which you guys haven't really seen, is despite having everything else going on in my life, I've managed to research 3 new trading strategies, specifically with volume profiles. I've spent a couple months backtesting that and the results are good. I'd like to improve the win rate a bit further. That's the main focus because I'd like to get more frequent prop firm payouts, and to achieve that I need to reduce my risk reward a little bit and increase my trade frequency and my win rate. So yeah, there you go. Those are the kind of the successes of the year. But of course, we can't have success without failure. And the failures this year is primarily the missed trades, which you saw earlier. I had a couple missed trades. I think if you add them all up, it might be around 25% profit. And I can't really beat myself up too much because most of that did come from 2 trades which occurred within a 24-hour period. And I can't be at the markets 24/7, particularly because this year I've been renovating a house and I've had a baby, which means I haven't been able to stay awake so much in the night very easily. I've been tired, I've not been very focused on the charts. So that's my excuse. But really, I should be at the charts executing those trades and following my plan. And yeah, missed trades can't really avoid having a couple missed trades. Unfortunately, in this case, the missed trades that I did avoid were mostly winning trades. I have logged a couple of missed losing trades, but they weren't really worth talking about in this video. It's not very interesting. And then another failure is the mismanaged AU trade. I could have made 4% there, but instead I made 0.79%. Not a huge deal, but again, mistakes, you have to log them so that they don't happen again. And I make very, very few mistakes because of this process. I've been trading for 5 years now. When I make a mistake, I write it down. I really think about it. I go on a walk, you know. I really try to let it sink in so that I don't make the same mistake again. You can't make the same mistakes twice. In terms of my trading psychology this year, like I mentioned, I think it's been very solid. You know, despite ending the year at 0% profit, I'm quite happy with that, and I can't really complain. I'm not losing money, and that's the most important thing. I think you've really got to approach the markets with a kind of defensive mentality. If you're going into the markets focused on being aggressive and making as much money as possible, you're going to end up losing. And I think if you go into the markets focused on protecting your capital while getting involved in opportunities, you're going to end up being an excellent trader. You've got to have more of an investor type mentality. So one of that's the first psychology thing, but the second is I've had a really low trade frequency this year, 24 trades in total, some months having no trades, which I'm sure you are aware of. Whenever I go on the Fivers live stream, the first thing they always ask me is whether or not I've taken any trades, and quite often the answer is no, which is quite a funny position to be in. How few trades do I have to take to not be considered a trader anymore? You know what I mean? I think in terms of psychology, having such a low trade frequency can introduce doubt, and it's something which you can't avoid. I have doubted my strategy at times, and I suppose that's why I've kind of been open to looking at new strategies, which I've not been open to before. I've been quite stubborn, which is also a fairly bad trader psychology element. You don't want to be too stubborn, you need to be flexible. And yeah, so I've been a bit more flexible, I've been a bit more open-minded at looking at new strategies. And when I felt doubt, what I've done is I have looked at my backtesting data, I've backtested the strategy I'm currently trading, and I see, you know what, there are years where I make 0% profit. There are some years on some pairs where you even have, you know, -1 or -2%. But if you look at this strategy on a 5-year sample size, or even a 2 or 3-year sample size, you always make money. It's a particularly strange feeling when trades do come with such low trade frequency. There was a week in September where I took 4 trades in a day. I think it was 4 trades in 2 or 3 days or something like that. And it felt very strange. I was like, are there setups genuinely happening, or have I suddenly just become a really aggressive trader and thrown my plan out of the window, you know? So that was strange because I was kind of second guessing myself because I'd been conservative for so long. But yeah, in terms of psychology, low trade frequency, doubt, these are the only things I've really experienced. In terms of FOMO and greed, I've been pretty solid, to be honest. And like, I've been solid all across the board, but I had to think of something, and doubt is the only thing I think I've really experienced a little bit of this year. This is kind of a success, actually. It's a psychology success, but I'm quite proud of myself to be having had such steadfast trading mentality throughout the year, despite the fact that I'm sharing all my trades online. It's not something that most traders have to do. And, you know, people criticizing your trading style and your trading, you know, any specific trades that you've taken, it can also introduce doubt and make you feel like you're doing the wrong thing. But thankfully, like, most of you guys watching these videos are very supportive, and you think I'm doing well, and that's always reassuring, and I really appreciate your support throughout this series. Thanks to you all watching this, it's quite easy for me to share my trades online. because I don't really get criticized from you at all. I actually feel really supported and empowered to share my trades, and I hope that you find them useful and continue to support me. So my primary learning this year, and there have not been a huge amount because I've not had, like I said, I've only had 24 trades. So I suppose that's kind of like 24 opportunities for learning. And I think the primary learning of this year is that market conditions do change. I had so much success in my trading right from the get-go in 2021, 2022, 2023. And then 2024, things started to slow down a bit. And I remember that's when I first thought, well, in 2025, it'll pick up again. And interestingly, in 2025, it got worse and it actually flatlined even more, ending the year at break even. I've been profitable every year. Even last year, I made 15%, and I was a bit disappointed with that. And I've learned, this year I've made 0%, and I'm quite pleased to have made 0% because I think it could have been a lot worse. So yeah, my primary learning this year is that market conditions do change, and I need to be as flexible as I possibly can. I think a good word is you need to be agile. A good trader needs to be really agile, which just means that they need to be able to notice patterns quickly and adapt based on them quite quickly as well. I think I could have probably realized about 18 months ago that the market conditions had changed. I was just so in my trading style that I was like, no, I'm not going to change what I'm doing because that changes my edge. And with the last year and a half of experience, I've learned that sometimes you do need to change your trading style a little bit, and it's not a problem. I've always been open to changing the strategy, introducing new elements and improvements, but I've never been open to introducing secondary strategies. There's only so many tweaks you can make. Like, I wasn't really getting any entries this year, and the few that I did get didn't play out. There were you saw, there were only 3 trades which made more than 10%, which is so few. I'm normally having way more than that. And yeah, this year I actually started looking at other strategies. Not that I don't like the trading strategy that I'm already trading. I love it so much and I want to trade it forever. And I probably will continue trading it forever. But I do need something else to be able to support my equity curve during these slow periods, because this year it's just been way too slow. So yeah, I'm thinking if I have this trending strategy and I have another strategy to support it during more corrective periods, I'm going to be golden. So yeah, that's what I've learned this year. Market conditions change and I need to be very agile and flexible. So my plan moving forward in 2026, obviously we've only got 2 months left of this challenge. Probably not going to pass it in time, but I hope you'll continue following along anyway, because I really enjoy this series and sharing my trades with you all, like I mentioned. My plan moving forward, I'm going to be continuing trading the strategy that I am, exactly the same. And I'm going to be developing a couple of other strategies, which I'll share with you in 2026, hopefully. So there we go. I hope you found this video helpful. I know I would have found it helpful if I was starting trading a few years ago. It's been very interesting trading in 2025, and I'm interested to see if things will change much in 2026, if we'll get some more trending price action. So yeah, I'll see you guys. I'm sorry this video is a little bit late, by the way. I'll see you guys in maybe 1 to 2 weeks with the next video. I'm actually moving to the renovated property at the beginning of February, so my upload schedule for the next month might be a little all over the place. But yeah, I will do my best. I'm going to script a really interesting video and I'm going to try and release that in the next 2 weeks. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you then. Thank you.